our first panel discussion will look to discover experiential learning to inclusive learning, encompassing multidisciplinary education, NEP paving the accessible way to flexible learning. Gracing this panel, I would like to invite our moderator, Shahnaz Ahmed, Chairman and Founder Principal, Springdale Senior Secondary School, Jorhat, Assam. A big round of applause for ma'am, please. I would like to invite our panelists now. Sailesh Sarmah, President, All Assam Private School Association, Assam. A big round of applause for sir, please. Welcome, sir. Next, we have Monalisa B. Singh, Principal, Delhi Public School, Jorhat. Next, we have Manobi Deka, Founder Director, Sparsh Group of School, Guwahati. A big round of applause for our first panel. Over to you, ma'am.
Good morning. I'm sure it's still morning, if I'm not mistaken. Is it still morning? Yeah. Yeah, good morning, everybody. Yes. So this is a wonderful day, and we from Assam and some from Siliguri also I have seen are all in this lovely gathering to discuss on things which NEP has really formulated, and especially with digital learning. It's nice that we have all gathered here. It's wonderful that we will share our discussions, our knowledge with each other, and we like to take home whatever little bit we know and whatever we'll be learning from each other. We have seen for the last 2 years that from our method of learning or teaching that we were there, the traditional method have suddenly come to a stop. And because of COVID or the pandemic that we have gone through, suddenly we were all in such a kind of a confusion that we didn't know what to do when pandemic came and schools closed, and we had to carry on with our teaching. But how do we do it was a problem. Of course, there was digital learning going on from a long time, and we didn't give much importance to it. So we had to go back and really learn whatever was there and try to impart education as we had to do it. I like to thank Digital Learning Group for bringing this kind of program here to the Northeast, to Assam especially, and to Guwahati, because we are always away. Few of us can go into these different panels and sit down and share our ideas in Pan-India, but many of us have not had the opportunity or the time or the means to just quickly go listen to such kind of discussions and come back. So first and foremost, I would like to thank Digital Learning for doing this. And it's going to be a big sharing for the whole day. We are going to talk a lot about digital learning and the impact of digital learning. Now, digital learning that we will discuss is actually, it is technology based, if I am not very wrong in it. So we, in our ways, we were brought up in a very traditional way of teaching. We were brought up by very traditional methods of learning, and suddenly, when we had to switch from the chalk and talk method to a digital method of teaching, we did face a lot of program. Then NEP had come in between, and NEP has said that the policies were there, that there should be multidisciplinary. A child should be the foundation time and the age, and then comes, the elementary learning, then will come from 9 to 12. It is going to be the choosing of the subjects. So multidisciplinary subjects were supposed to come. And we didn't understand how to do it. But we had to. We have to. It will carry on because 2022 NEP will be putting a lot of stress on it, and we'll have to carry on with this multidisciplinary way of teaching. Now, in our panel, for this, we will have discussion. We have Mr. Sailesh Sharma, who's come from Tinsukia, from our AB School Academy, and a very good educationist. He's been in this line for a very many years. Isn't it, Mr. Sharma? Yes. Then we have Monalisa Singh, who is from DPS Jorhat, known to me, and she has been also in this line for a very long time. And so we can listen and speak and talk and find out and share our ideas. We have Manobi Deka, who is from Sparsh Group of Schools. She's the founder director of Sparsh Group of Schools, and she's from Guwahati. So it's going to be a very good panel. We did have two more of them, but unfortunately they could not join us, Mr. Umesh Harbulla and Dr. Mona Khanna. I wish they were here so that we could also share and listen to what they were doing. Nevertheless, with this small group, we'll just have a very informal discussion, and we'll just like to share. So let us be at ease and, make it more interesting and make it more informal about it. Yeah, they might be having questions, and they'll be asking questions to us. My first question, since we are saying about digital learning, and the topic is from experiential learning, which we all know what experiential learning is. As educators, I think everybody knows what experiential learning is, to inclusive learning, where we include all children, whether they are weak. Now we cannot call them they are weak students, or they are, very good in studies, or whether they are differently able students. So everybody should be included in the classroom and should be taught in an experiential way. We keep teaching, and we try to make the students come up to a level where they feel they are in par with each other. From there, to encompassing multidisciplinary education. Now it's become multidisciplinary, so we'll become jack of all trade, but I don't know whether we'll become master of one or not. But we'll have to do physics with history and music and this. So everything, students will have to choose. They will do their own, whatever is their aptitude. I think they will be going ahead with their studies. And now NEP will be paving the way to flexible learning. So it's become very flexible. I'm sure that is also in the West. It is something from the taken. If I am not mistaken, even the West has this kind of educational policies. When I was very young and I used to hear all these things from my father, who was a professor, and he used to talk about things like this. So I didn't understand that how a child or a boy who does physics can also go into doing history in a school or in an university. That is called liberal arts, if I'm not mistaken. And so up till the O level, they can choose any kind of subjects. My younger son used to tell me that I want to study history and maths in my class 12, and also I want to do physics and any other subject. But this was not there. It was always traditional in India. But I'm sure now we have got a long horizon, a big vistas of, we can go into a great way of doing it. So my first question will be, it's a more discussion, it's not a question, Manobi, is to Manobi. Manobi, we have this from the traditional education, which was there, the chalk and the talk method. Now it has become digital education, which is an alternative way of education. Do you agree with this statement that digital education is seen as an alternative to the traditional education process of chalk and talk? So do you agree with this statement? And if you feel that it is important, so can you review it, and what are the methods you are using in your school?
Thank you very much, ma'am, for the question. I know the first question was coming to me, and why not? After NEP giving so much importance to foundation literacy and numeracy, the first question or the beginning of learning happens from the foundation stage. So I shoulder a great responsibility, being an early years educator for 2 decades, and I'm also the territory head for Early Childhood Association of India for the Northeast. Like, we always have a tendency to cite an example of our own childhood to our own children being a parent, and also sometimes to our students, right? Herein comes the famous quote which always comes to my mind, being a student of literature. The quote was by Khalil Gibran about children: "For their souls dwell in a house of tomorrow, which you cannot visit, not even in your dreams." Actually, we never dreamt that this particular time would come. It created a havoc, isn't it? The last 2 years of pandemic. And experiential learning, which we are talking about, ma'am, we teachers are the best example. We were told to include technology in our schools or teaching method, but unless and until we were in the crisis situation, we did not do it. And some time back, I heard that we really had hiccups during our teaching, learning methods in the past 2 years, which Madam had told some time back. All of us struggled with technology, and we took help of our children. So I want to say that our children are born in a different era altogether. We cannot cite the example of our own childhood all the time. So I would not say or give 100% advocacy for technology also, and we cannot do away with the original chalk and talk method also. But talking about the early years, all of you must be aware about the pioneers or stalwarts of education in the early years, in the foundation stage, which we now say. Dr. Maria Montessori, Friedrich Froebel, may it be the Reggio Emilia approach by Loris Malaguzzi or Rudolf Steiner, the Waldorf school, which is there in Europe. Ma'am was talking about the Western system of education, where hands-on learning is very important. Schools are engaging children more in vocational education there, and we are now emphasizing on it now. So it was already prevalent there. And talking about technology, I think all the schools out here, all of us are from the private sector. So all of us were already implementing some technology in our schools from the foundation stage itself. So talking about FLN, Foundation Literacy and Numeracy, we were using teaching aids like a tape recorder for the for listening skills. For language development, the first skill is listening skill. All of us were using tape recorders to enhance the listening skill of children. Audiovisual aids were used in schools. We were using videos to actually educate our children about a lot of things. In schools, preschools, about good touch and bad touch. We cannot articulate it in front of children directly, so we show them a video, what is good touch and bad touch. Through that, we can just create some kind of awareness amongst our children. And when we talk about storytelling, rather than giving them an abstract idea, if there is a pictorial description or a visual in front of them, I think the comprehension will be easier, and the teacher's work will also decrease. So this is how in foundation stage we can incorporate technology. And in the government sector also, the foundation years were dealt with by the social welfare department and the education department together. I mean, mostly through the ICDS projects, where also every Anganwadi was given a tape recorder. It's a different issue, they receive it or not. But they used to get tape recorders for enhancing listening skills. I think now the more importance will be given to that. So let us be happy and hopeful about it, that technology is going to bring out a lot of changes from the foundation stage itself, and it has to go parallelly. We cannot do away with the traditional method. Hands-on learning is very important for early years to develop all the 6 domains of early childhood. So that's all I feel. Technology plays the role in that way in early years.
There, and that's how the child is going to really form, that is the most formative years of a child. So there, when we are trying to put, yes, it was very important when I saw that the children of class, prep classes and, UKG, LKG, they were made to do into this digital learning. They had to use their small little phones and learn from there when COVID was there. But they picked up. That means how sharp they can be. They're absolutely, that foundation is there, and that formative years are so important that anything given to them, they can pick it up. So this digital learning, which has become so important now, away from traditional way, we cannot give up traditional way, that is a fact, because everything should be there in a very, very systematic way, but the tip of just press a button and the whole world is in front of you. That's where I think traditional, this digital learning is taking the world to. Now, there are challenges that the schools are facing. We in the urban areas must be having a lot of plus points. I would say Guwahati would be having more plus points than what we have in this outskirts of Guwahati, even in Jorhat or in Tinsukia or in Deka, whatever it is. Might be our nets sometimes work less, internets are not working as fast as it can be. And in the remote areas, that especially when we go more and more into the remote areas or to the villages, but there is digital learning also. So they have to do it since it is given there, and since NEP has said multidisciplinary and the use of digital learning is very important. Everybody has to become very experts in learning. We have all learned it in whatever way it is we have learned it. My next question to you is Mr. Sailesh Sarmah. Sailesh Sarmah is from Tinsukia, and he would be explaining to us or speaking on the multidisciplinary direction. Like here the teachers is transferring, this multidisciplinary direction is transferring the way teachers used to teach and students used to learn. Please let us know your perception on the same. How is multidisciplinary getting into the students and the teachers, and are you using any kind of digital learning in teaching all these things? Have you started with it in those areas?
Thank you, ma'am. Before we start, it was more like we were slowly trying to transition from the traditional method to digitalization. Then this pandemic happened, and all of a sudden we were forced to use the digital for our own advantage, I would say, because probably a teacher who was using a keypad phone till yesterday, within a week he became a smartphone expert. Probably as school leaders, as a principal or a director or a trustee, without any formal training, our teachers upgraded themselves. So that was one very positive aspect I would say. But again, the teachers were judged because as I say, it's a little offbeat, I would say, but as teachers were taking classes, a person who is good in maths may not be very good in English, probably. So, but the way he teaches maths is excellent. But we had instances where parents were saying, how come he's teaching when he doesn't know English and he's teaching mathematics in an English medium school? So the judgment was very consistent, and teachers had to go through a lot of pressure in this thing. But again, with the NEP coming in, multidisciplinary is, of course, a welcome step. Because a child who never wished to pursue his studies in probably mathematics or engineering or something, he was supposed to go through the science and maths till class 10th, which of course, was not necessary as even the NEP is saying now. But somewhere we were lacking about the practicality of the subject. We are never taught about money management, which we use the whole of our life. There's nowhere, except for identification of the currencies, we don't have a single chapter about money management in a mathematics or any of the classes. Probably with financial subjects coming as a vocational, vocational course or additional subject, it will open up new horizons for the students. Again, technology, it is limited because I am also a part of a school which is probably the first school in the east in Assam, Sadia. Sadia is the gateway to Assam from the eastern side. Probably the first, I'm associated with the first private school on that side. There, the network, we are talking about 5G now. We don't even get 2G there. Because to attend a call, I have seen teachers walking up to the highway and receiving their calls or trying, even I, try and pick up signals like this. If I have to download a 75 KB image file or a document. So although we have tried to completely transform the digital, every class is equipped with smart TVs. A hub has been put for digital learning content. But net is horrible. I cannot download the updates. I cannot get the question papers there. So what I have to do is I pick up the box, a teacher comes down to Tinsukia, connects to the Wi-Fi, updates it on the Saturday, and takes it back on Monday. This is how we are trying to do. First, the infrastructure has to improve. That is of vital importance. And I'm sure most of the schools who are a bit offbeat or are a bit in a distance from the main tower, you are experiencing the same thing. Yes, we require multidisciplinary thing. Again, schools with limited resources. We are talking about budget private schools or schools with limited amount of money. As in Assam, we are regulated by the Fee Regulation Committee. You cannot even overcharge, right? So what we do, how can we offer multidisciplinary subject in a school? Probably there, the role as an association or a group of schools comes in. We can have teachers who can visit, few of us can hire one teacher and share the resources. So that is the one area where we can venture. Otherwise, we'll be left behind the race. We as a Northeastern schools, we are always thought by the mainland people that these are the backward schools, but we are not. We have probably the best knowledge of geography in the whole country. Even today you go to Delhi, I remember when I was in college, ma'am, my friends, if they, we used to stay in a PG, and the owner, whenever my friends' call came to our landline, she asked them, okay, 1 ghante baat karna, 2 ghante baat karna. But when my phone came, immediately I used to get. And she used to say, I was known as Assami because I was from Assam. So Assami, tera ISD aaya hai. ISD is an international call. So that was the knowledge the lady had. And a friend of mine, he falls into a challenge, telling that Cherrapunji is in Assam. So I said, no, sir, it's in Shillong. He said, no, my teacher has told me that it's in Assam. I said, is the book printed before 1972? If that is true, then I think that will be right. But right now, it's a part of Meghalaya. So probably this gap would be narrowed, and I'm very sure with the NEP coming in, positive things are here to be there. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, Mr. Sharma. Mr. Sharma has very well highlighted the problems that we face far away in those areas, Sadia. This is the same problem that I also face in, we have a small tea estate near Sonari, and that is on the foothills of Nagaland. And there we find that 2G is also not working there. The schools there cannot even do anything. Your mobile just gets stuck there. You cannot download anything. So how will those schools function with so much of things that this NEP wants them to do? They still have to use their old methods because learning has to go on. Learning cannot stop. I know the smart classes will be there, but the smart classes will not be able to download anything until these kind of internet facilities are really upgraded in those places. So this is a very crucial point that we will be facing, especially those who are away. Guwahati will be having a lot of good things to do, and again, what he was talking about, the fee structure. That is another very important thing that will be, the schools which are budget schools will be facing, because multidisciplinary, when we do it, we have to have very good infrastructure. We just cannot have a very high level multidisciplinary courses going on with all the vocational courses is fine, but we should be having this, but if the fee regulation is going on, then it will be very difficult for us to carry on with so many things at one time, you know. That's what I was thinking, and I was really thinking that will the students become jack of all trade but master of none? Will they become? But it's good that they will learn little bit of everything. They might get a little bit of to learn about the vocational trainings. They learn a little bit about physics, about history, about geography. At least their knowledge will go up. They will not think that Cherrapunji is somewhere else. They will still know a lot of things.
With the implementation of NEP,
Yeah, yeah.
with the implementation of NEP, I think the government will also be flexible so as to accommodate all those things, like, the labs, because they will also understand, yes, the schools will be needing this, so we have to be a little flexible with the fee structure.
Yeah, Mr. Sailesh, I just want to ask you one thing, since you are saying that it is very important. I'm sure this multidisciplinary way of teaching or multidisciplinary things will be helping them in their higher education, don't you think so? When they go into class 11 and 12, if they choose their subjects from class 6 or 7, whatever other courses they want to do, will it help them in their higher education as they go into colleges?
Yes, of course, ma'am. Now, it will certainly help, and with this technology coming in and with this NEP thing, because we are slightly deviating from our traditional method of rote learning, you can say, or other things which are mandatorily has to be studied till class 10. So of course, now, as a ma'am from Downtown University, she was telling, they have got everything ready. So, but the students probably coming in, they had no clue what they are going to study in the college or the university. Now, I think when a child starts from junior class, the person is very clear that, yes, I want to go to this field of area, then the person is also industry ready. I think the colleges and universities will be more getting better students in terms with a prerequisite knowledge, I think, which will certainly help them. And with the invent of online classes now, sitting at home, probably sitting in Sadia, I can dream of taking a degree from Stanford University. So these things have become possible now. So of course, I am very hopeful and I'm very positive that this will certainly help. But the only thing is now that the role of teachers is it has to be more of a felicitator or innovator. The teacher should be able to arouse the interest in the students so that they actually find the path which they are looking for.
Thank you, Mr. Sailesh Sarmah. Now we'll come to Monalisa Singh. Monalisa is from DPS Jorhat. DPSs always have very high level of things, and so they must be very well equipped. I don't know, they must be very well equipped with a lot of things. Of course, they have good fee structure, so they can afford to do many things which we cannot even dream of doing it, because we are always cut short with, no, you can't do this. We have to think many times before we do something. But DPS being a very privileged group, so they will have things coming from all over. Monalisa, ma'am, I would just like to ask you one question. Since, what is your definition of experiential learning, and how do you increase flexible in your learning-centric education, and how do you implement in your school? How does DPS believe in doing, this experiential learning? What are the hands-on you are doing, and what kind of methods are you using in your school to help out students to get into this kind of learning?
Thank you, Shahnaz ma'am, and good morning to all of you. I know that Shahnaz ma'am would ask me this question, and she has been talking about how we could collaborate and work towards spreading education in a much more better way. So what comes to my mind right now is I would actually like to thank this platform, ELETS, for getting all the leaders into one platform where we can actually talk about how we could go forward with the NEP 2020 and come to a platform where we could share and help each other. To my belief, before I actually answer your question, I'm a person who believes in sharing and learning because that goes side by side in my philosophy of life, which I often talk to my students, saying that, just like ma'am said, we are maybe a better school with infrastructure and catering to a niche market. So we are privileged, and I thank the management for everything. So if we are privileged, we need to share our knowledge to the schools, to the teachers, to the people who actually need it, and where we could spread education. So I would really like to thank you for this question because DPS, yes, we do have everything which is quite comfortable for the children who study in our school, and they are from privileged lot. So I actually want them also to go to the society and work towards sharing knowledge. As far as experiential learning is concerned, experiential learning is something which we are all talking about it today. It's the buzzword for NEP 2020. So I would just like to share something of my own school where we can actually share knowledge and grow. I have actually developed, I've actually put a slot in my timetable because I realized that when we talk about experiential learning and when I tell my teachers, they do it, and with the rush of syllabus or could be so many things, so sometimes they overlook it. Like maybe they just teach and then don't do the activity. So hands-on and experiencing. So I've put a slot which the whole period is known as Beyond Books. So I have Beyond Books in my timetable. So when it comes to Beyond Books, they have a curriculum. So they plan it for the month or the quarter. Sometimes it's a quarter, but the micro planning is for the month. So when it comes to Beyond Books, whether it is for environment science or whether it is mathematics, that's where we do the multidisciplinary part of it. So suppose I take my students or a class goes out and we talk about the honeycomb. So we're talking about math, talking about the shapes of how the honeycomb, the shape. So they look into geometry part of it. So we talk about the cobwebs and where the rectangles come from. So we talk about where we see math outside. So other than the books, where can we see math? So we talk about these kind of things and work on projects based on environment as well as mathematics together. So such kind of things are done in the Beyond Books. It's nothing to do with the books, and it has nothing to do with the curriculum or syllabus for that month. So it is something which is just out of the box. Yes. Then we also have things like, I would actually like to share this. My junior classes, we have taken, we've weaved in stories. So my LKG, UKG class 1, we've weaved in stories which is curated by my own teachers with the whole team together. And we have characters. So my junior school is only through storytelling. The entire teaching methodology is through storytelling. So these stories are made by themselves. There are characters, so those characters come to school. The characters talk about math, the characters talk about English, and so on and so forth. So it is a whole storytelling method. And then in a particular story, so they have somebody who is on a wheelchair when we are talking about inclusive education. Right. Yeah? So through one story, they are learning math, they are learning English, they are learning EVS, and they are learning about special needs of children. So there is a story where there's a special child who cannot speak, who is deaf and dumb. So I started teaching that. When that part came in, so they are supposed to teach about sign language. So it comes in that way. So it is a whole story for the whole quarter. So there are 4 stories for a quarter each, which is inclusive of all the subjects together. This is actually a pilot project which I thought would be nice. So we started with it, and it's doing pretty well. Children are enjoying. So that is one part of it, of experiential learning. Secondly, in the higher classes, again, experiential learning is all about working with projects, but I do not believe in giving projects to do it at home, because projects when done at home are done by the parents and it's a headache. So we are working on projects where we have 2 club periods together. So they work for those projects in the school. So there is on renewable energy turning, where physics comes in with chemistry, with bio and math, together with IT. So they work on certain projects for STEM to develop green electricity. So these are some of the things which we've already done. We've kind of planned for the quarter, or for the, this project will be for this quarter, the other project. So we work on things like that, which are hands-on activities for the different age categories. So this is about the experiential part of it.
Yeah, thank you very much. Monalisa has spoken a lot about integrated learning. That means you integrate a lot of the subjects together, and then you teach in that method.
Yes,
so, and
ma'am.
the students can learn it easily, and that is the out-of-box teaching that you are doing.
Absolutely, ma'am.
So this has been a wonderful panel, and everybody has been sharing their own different ideas or the different challenges that they have been all facing. My one question to everybody, which is very relevant today to each one of you, when you faced this problem of coming from the traditional method suddenly in 2020, March or April, when we were made to do these online classes, which I think we all need to know about it. What were the problems did you face, and what were the challenges that you took up, and how did you go about this whole thing? Because we need to share each one's thing, and to find out that what problems we faced during that time. Can we start with Monalisa, please?
Yes, ma'am. When we came to know about the pandemic and we had to go all digital, so just overnight, we had to decide that what is the platform we are going to use. So then first was WebEx. We started off initially with WebEx. Then we had to kind of really work on, because that we could have a better platform. So we moved on, of course, to Google Classroom. Initially, it was really difficult, no matter even if it is DPS or any other school. It has been very, very difficult for us. Not because we do not have the infrastructure or knowledge, but to ensure that each and every teacher is able to face the camera. Because not every teacher is confident in front of, or maybe even used to handling. They have no idea. They don't even know how to, kind of switch it on and share the screen. So it was very difficult. More difficult for people like me or the leaders was, I hope my teacher does not fumble in front of the parents. So, so these kind of thoughts would keep coming. So we had to train, we had to keep on meeting up. After the classes ended, it was not just work for 7 to 2, maybe it was like almost 24 hours we were, kind of working for all of this. But gradually, things really worked well. I must really congratulate the entire team who has been with me, that they have done a phenomenal job. And there were lots of appreciations. And in Jorhat, we really got a lot of, good, words from the people that we did very well. And the teachers took up, they challenged themselves to, get better. So it went off pretty well. Thank you, ma'am. Yeah.
Mr. Sailesh Sharma will also be answering this.
Okay.
Mr. Sharma, how did you come out with it? There must be, it was like a dream, like a nightmare initially.
Yes. So as ma'am has said, see, every school has gone through the same procedure. Yeah. And the thing which I said earlier was the pressure on the teachers. She was worried whether they will fumble, but teachers were getting, they were judged based on their language and presentation skills. So that was a very, very traumatic experience even for the teachers. And the classes that were happening, and the unique thing which we faced was around 20% of the students who are enrolled in our school, they don't even have a smartphone. So that was the biggest challenge, because although we were offering them the digital classroom, the Zoom or Google Meet and something, but the children were not able to attend those classes. And in a family of 3 children, the classes were happening in the same time. A single phone was being used. So that was a lot of pressure on the teachers, but somehow we sailed through, because we said, you need not worry. Okay, we'll be sending those video classes again somewhere, and we have to tell the teachers, bhai, don't make a mistake, because if once we record and send out a video, you never know what meme is going to come out on that. So you have to be very careful also, because again the name of the school is attached to it, right? So it was sudden change, but somewhere we grew out stronger. I would say we grew out stronger, and we adapted to the technological change very fast. So whatever way you look at it, it was bad, but we came out strong. We came out of it strong, and now we have embraced technology to the fullest extent. Now it's more comfortable. Yeah.
Thank you, Mr. Sharma. Can I just get your ideas? Manobi, would you be sharing some of your ideas? Yeah.
Before I answer the question, I would like to put the question to the audience. I think all of you faced one problem, that students dropped out of classes. So which were the classes where the most students dropped out? Higher classes?
Absolutely.
I think the nursery KG. Yeah, pre-primary classes, children dropped out, and parents thought that it is not important for a 4-year-old child to study in online platform anymore. They need not stay connected with the schools. And they didn't even take admissions, readmissions, and they dropped out. Yes. Yes, they did not study for 2 years, and directly they want to study in class 1 or maybe in UKG, right? And they want us to cover everything. So, and one more lesson we have learned: everything might shut down, but schools will never close, isn't it? So that is something we have derived out of this crisis situation. And the worst hit were the preschools, standalone preschools, where children dropped out everywhere, and then we had to pay to the teachers and the rent, etc. Thanks to NEP, that now the importance has been given to foundation years. And the NCF 2022 is the first ever integrated document from 3 to 8 years, and that will probably educate parents the importance of the early years. I think you have been conducting a lot of teachers' workshops in your school. You should conduct parental workshop also, where you educate the parents about the importance of early years. So we have to devise methods, and I have seen, I will tell you the methods, and we will make it happen. Okay, so we have to call the parents and tell them the importance of early years. Now when parents come to me, they want to take admission in LKG. Now I said that you have to take admission in nursery first, because from 3 years onwards you need a report card. This NEP says that every year the child has to have a report card. Earlier you thought that from class 1 onwards you have to have the report card. You cannot skip a year. You have to put your child in class 1, then 2, 3, 4. So here from nursery it is important. I tell them in this way that from 3 years onwards you have to have your mark sheet. Would you not like to keep your child's record from 3 years onwards, which has been articulated in the NEP? Then they say yes, and then they get their child enrolled, not irrespective of the age limit. If the child is 4+, he has to go in LKG. So this is something to celebrate that I am a great advocate of the early years. So I have to say that we have to celebrate early years now, and foundation years are very important, and teachers also. I mean, in K-12 schools, I have seen that grade 1 and 2 get less importance sometimes. We tend to, it is by default, we tend to concentrate, we have pressure also to concentrate on the class 10 and 12 results, right? But it has been like reiterated that if the early years, ECC is strengthened in a country, the country will definitely have citizens who are able to reach the goals of the nation. I mean, who will be able to envisage what our constitution says. Okay, so we have to concentrate on the foundation years, which was not done so long. And I think with this NCF coming in, especially for the foundation year separately, we will all do that. And we are back again with a bang, all of us. And we are going to use technology, and we have become smarter, like Sailesh has just now said, in using technology, and we will definitely incorporate that in our schools and face whatever comes, whatever difficult situations come in future. Thank you.
Thank you, everybody. So this has been a very interesting question, because this has really hit me quite a lot. Students who were in class 5, if I have to go just a little bit, class 5 are now in class 8. Digital learning they have all done, but how much have they learned? What is the concept? I still do not know. We still have to work a lot on it, and we really have to really work a lot to bring their concepts back. I have seen them. They have become very tech savvy. They can do anything with the technology. They can, yes, what Garisa has said some time back, that her daughter will be teaching her how to, even me, I had to do a lot of things when we first came into these online classes. And what Mr. Sailesh Sharma said, that we had to become conscious about what the classes, how the classes were going on, because everything was recorded. Everything was recorded. Parents were observing it or not. I'm sure they must have been, and we could have been in any kind of trouble if something had been misinterpreted or something wrong has been taught in a very simple way. But the teachers, we should call them actually COVID warriors, not only the doctors, I'll say even the teachers we all educators were also COVID warriors, because we really struggled a lot without knowing what actually we were heading towards it. But whatever said and done, digital learning is there. Without it, we cannot prosper. We will not be able to go ahead with what is there in the world. The world is going in one way, and we need to keep abreast with it. I always believe that what we have learned, if we teach our students, like yesterday what I have learned, the world is calling for something else tomorrow, and today is a new day. So we have to make the students really abreast with the new technology that is there, but for that our teachers and us together, educators, have to be very, very well equipped with it. But whatever said and done, for me, I am from a old school of thought school, people. We are very, very traditional in our ideas. And I still think that without the textbook, without the reading habit from the book, if we do not read, if the students do not have the capacity of reading, because on the, like students, I can see that they, even if a question is given, they'll just go to the Google. There's some listening app. They'll ask the Google, the answer is come, and they can write it down without having any knowledge about what reading habits are. They have so less concentration in reading. So I would request, this is from my side, because I always keep telling my teachers and my students that do not give up the habit of reading. Because it is reading that is going to increase your vocabulary. It is reading that is going to have that imagination there, because your imaginations will be dead if we only just look at the, technology and try to gain knowledge. So the balance should be there. Both technology and both traditional should be there, and that's how learning will progress, and that's how the world will go into a more and more educative world. Thank you very much. I'm sure we all had a very nice session. And if there are any questions from the audience, you can ask the panelists.
I want to add something with Madam regarding storytelling teacher. It's a good thing to share with you. That I have a teacher who is around 80 years, and he used to come in a week, one day, for telling the story. And we started it from the year 2009 when I started the school. And if that particular teacher is absent, it is a very difficult situation to handle the students. And she is a very good storytelling teacher. And all the students used to call her in Assamese name, Hadu Aita. And whenever he visits in the town, she is named as Hadu Aita. And I believe that if there is a generation gap for the storytelling, then it is much better. And we tried for such type of teachers, and she is the only one who is still continuing from the beginning of the school and till today. And it is very good that that students, as soon as she reach the school, they will touch the feet of the teacher, and she is popular as Hadu Aita. And it can be applied in your school also if you think it is better. Thank you.
This has been done in the government sector also. I happen to be a part of the SCF, State Curriculum Framework, when it was in making. I was representing the preschool sector. So in government sector also, they try to take elderly people from the neighborhood who come and teach in the school. They are not paid people, but they do it honorary. They come and tell stories in the school, sometimes do activities. So this, I think we can also implement. Our children will be thrilled if somebody comes from outside, from the neighborhood, who has got so much of wisdom and shares some knowledge. And sometimes we also involve parents. Some mother, by choice, may be a homemaker, but she might have a lot of learning which she can impart. So she can be a part of the like teaching learning method in the school. And also you give a slight experience to the mother also, how difficult it is to handle the class, no?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, and before the pandemic, we also used to call the grandparents to come and tell stories. Before the pandemic, we also used to call the grandparents to come and tell stories to our children, and they used to really love it. And how many of you have read this chapter, The Fun They Had, from class 9? It's a beautiful story, and if you have not read it, please read it, because it is about two children from the future where accidentally they find a book. And it's a beautiful beautiful story. I don't want to tell you all, but I want you all to actually read that chapter. It's a beautiful one, and that will actually explain the difference between digital learning and as Madam said, chalk and talk method of learning. That connection, the physical the connection between the teacher and the student is very important.
Hello, if I can butt in late, this is quite late. As Sarmah ma'am has said, that language is very important. I mean, once the reading habit. Most of the teachers, they don't really encourage their students, the school, to read anything apart from the textbooks. I mean, it's so important that you read any text material. It can be a newspaper, it can be a magazine, it can be the TV. I mean, students should be abreast of the current affairs, not only books. And all play, all work, and no play makes Jack a dull boy. And that's what's happening. Let me introduce myself. I'm basically a doctor, retired CMO from Coal India, but I've taken up a school job. I love teaching because all doctors are natural teachers and the natural students also. So when I teach my students biology, I mean, it's so important, it's so pertinent to tell them something related to the daily life. If I tell the child, what happens if the kidney fails? And the child says, there will be accumulation of ammonia and the patient will develop uremia. And it's so good. Well, what happens if the patient has uremia? The child says, the patient will go for dialysis. And what happens for a long time? Then the student says, the patient has to have a kidney transplant. And then what happens if that fails? And the student says the patient dies. And that doesn't come from the textbook, you know. He has to have that extra knowledge. That's what I'll implore upon all the teachers to ask the students to read that extra line, and also the teachers to go to run that extra mile to, I mean, educate the students, not about the textbooks only, and also about daily life. Thank you all.
Ma'am, I have a question.
We can have a one last
Time's up,
question.
actually. So, yeah, last question.
Small question, ma'am. Actually, after this COVID, so we are facing a problem. If we used to give something in WhatsApp group, guardian used to complain that, sir, don't give anything in WhatsApp and anything in YouTube. We have a YouTube channel also in our school name. They are telling that students get excuse. They means getting excuse to take use mobile phone. Yeah, many of them are complaining, sir, don't give anything in mobile phone. So how to deal with that?
I agree. Every school probably is going through the same problem. But see, it's very easy on the parents' part to throw the blame on the school that don't give this, don't do that. But is our job like to think about, like, look after the child 24 hours? No, we just get them for 6 hours. Rest 18 hours they are with the parents. So somewhere it's a shared responsibility, and giving you homework, the parents don't even know whether they're actually working on the things which have been given by the school or they're playing some games or video games. Yes, a little monitoring is there, or better still, have a meeting, throw the question to the parents, kindly tell us what should be the solution, or give them a time frame that, okay, from this to this you can do schoolwork, and after that you have to submit the phone. That's what is the practical way I feel.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So actually what I've been thinking is, this is because time is up, this thing will never come to an end. This problem has started, it will start, because this side is the digital learning. We told the students to bring the phone. The same students were not allowed to use phones some years back. Yes. But now we have told them, you do it. And now I can still see the students want to bring the phone home to the school. So what we do is I check bags and I take out the phones, and many times I've thrown the phones out of the campus in front of the parents, because these parents are also really helping out the students to use the phones. And they will come up with all defensive mechanisms. Just know my child actually is this. So we need to be very, very strict with this. Yes, we will use digital methods. That is there, we cannot get out of it, but not to give out the traditional methods. Otherwise, we'll be in a great soup. The students will be going ahead with different things. More than knowledge, they will go with other things which even digital technology will lead them to. So it's better to bring a balance, to monitor, to make the parents totally responsible along with us. As he says, 18 hours with them, 6 hours with us. 3 times more, the students are staying with the parents. So we need to make the balance very well. Thank you, everybody, for giving a patient
A very big
listening.
round of applause for our wonderful panel. I would like to request Deepak Daga, Director iBerry, to please come on the stage and give mementos to our panelists. We have Manobi Deka, Founder Director, Sparsh Group of Schools, Guwahati. Thank you, ma'am. Next we have Monalisa B. Singh, Principal, Delhi Public School, Jorhat. A big round of applause. Thank you, ma'am. Next we have Sailesh Sharma, President, All Assam Private School Association, Assam. Can we have a round of applause, please? We have Shahnaz Ahmed, Chairman and Founder Principal, Springdale Senior Secondary School, Jorhat. A very big round of applause for ma'am, please. She has curated the panel very well. Can we have a group photo with the magazine, please?